Today's episode is brought to you by Acorn Hills Clothing Company. Sustainable clothing, biodegradable packaging, tree planted for every purchase, and a percentage of their sales donated to charities.
Yeah, and that's not even the best part. They give you these plantable clothing tags with every purchase. Pretty much greatest idea ever.
That
You
is
scan
awesome.
the QR code right here for planting instructions. So make sure you go to www.acornhillsco.com and use Brews15. That is BREWS15 at checkout for 15% off and have your tree planted today.
Yes, don't forget to use our code Brews15 at checkout for 15% off. This is one you don't want to miss, guys. We had the Champions League round of 16, man.
Whew! Finally, it's back.
We're at the pointy end of the competition, the knockout stages. Let's just dive right into it. We had Copenhagen hosting Man City. Copenhagen lost 3-1.
Duh.
Yeah. Pretty
I will
much.
give Copenhagen credit, though. They played pretty well in that first half.
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
The rest of the match, City destroyed them.
It's Man City. Good luck, Copenhagen. We said this earlier, like, we're sorry. Feel bad.
Yeah.
A game that was a little closer, though. We had RB Leipzig hosting Real Madrid.
Yeah, and this one, you can really see how much Real Madrid misses Jude Bellingham when he's not on the pitch.
Yeah, you do.
Because they did not look efficient going forward. They didn't look very, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, I guess threatening is a good one. On the attack. RB Leipzig did great on the counter. I thought at first look they got robbed for the goal they scored. They got called offside.
Oh, that one, yeah.
I thought, and then they showed the replay
half.
from a different angle, and like he's clearly blocking the goalkeeper. So I was like, okay.
Whatever. Yeah, that was the call. He made a play, I guess, on the goalkeeper, and
so the goalie couldn't see nothing. I get it. So,
but I guess I got a question for you. Would the goalie have gotten there anyway?
No way in hell. But if he blocks the goalkeeper from seeing the ball, I understand why
he didn't stop him from seeing, because he was behind the goalkeeper and kind of prevented him from trying to get to the ball. Okay. Is what it was. But I don't think he would have got there anyway. I get by the letter of the law, yes, it's the correct call, but I don't like it.
No, I don't like it either.
I don't have to like it, because, I mean, we always want to see more goals. But, I mean, the goalie's not going to get there. Come on.
Well, yeah, and you think how, if they counted that, how much this would have turned that leg on its head.
Oh, yeah.
Like, so it would have put Leipzig up 1-0 at home against Real Madrid, who are struggling to threaten the goal. And now you go back to the Bernabeu, and they get Jude Bellingham back in the second leg. And by the way, I was looking at his stats for some weird reason, but he's only scored 2 goals less than Erling Haaland this season in all competitions. That's how crazy he is as a midfielder. We're talking about comparing him to one of the best strikers in the world, but someone who is consistently getting the best service in the world. And then Jude Bellingham at 20 years old.
It's Erling Haaland, that is, yeah.
Crazy.
But let's talk about Real Madrid's goal, because this was a golazo, man. Golazo from Brahim Diaz. Take a bow, dribbles.
Take a bow.
Going past one defender, 2 defender, 3 defender, 4. Curls it to that top corner. I mean, it was just...
I don't think I've ever seen him do that in his entire career. I know he has it in him. But because I've seen him, when he was on loan at AC Milan last season, we saw him dribble through.
Yeah, and he would score some goals, but not like that. I mean,
like that. Oh, whew, chef's kiss.
Like that, it looked like he had Messi in him for a split second, dribbling past those players and curling it. The ghost of Messi was just right there for a second. I don't know. That was wild. We'll see if he can continue that form. I mean, he hasn't been doing terrible coming off the bench, putting in some performances, some goals here, assists there.
It's what Real Madrid needs, because you look at their starting lineup and their midfield gets all the attention, but they have no reinforcements up front. So to have him in form is fantastic for them.
Yes, it is. All right, moving on. We had PSG hosting Real Sociedad. This one ended 2-0 in favor of PSG.
I know we were both rooting for Sociedad in this one.
I know, I was watching this game, man, and just they played so well the first half. It was 0-0 going into halftime.
They deserved to be in it after the first half, and then Kylian Mbappe said, "Hold my beer."
He did. He had his goal, and then Barcolo had his goal, which was a nice one, by the way.
It was, yeah. And he's also just a kid. I think he's 19
20?
or 20.
Yeah, 19, 20, something like that. Yep. Yeah. But Sociedad, man, they're struggling for goals of late.
I think I was like 5 of their last 6 games were 0-0 draws.
I think I saw it was like 1,000 minutes or something like that.
Yeah,
something ridiculous.
Crazy. But we never know, right? They got Kubo back from the Asian Cup.
Well, he played in this game. He didn't do much.
He did, but at home after a couple of games under his belt, getting back to the thick of things, I think it might be a completely different tie in Sociedad with them being able to just go all out trying to get the win.
Well, they're gonna have to because they had scored.
Or it'll be the other way around, and PSG will just literally destroy them on the counter. That'll be what it is.
It looks like our pick of Sociedad is gonna fall short on this one. I think, unfortunately. Yeah. I will still root for them, but
I will say, speaking of falling short, Lazio and Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich has sucked so bad lately. Like,
oh my
so
goodness.
bad. Let's go on a Bayern Munich tangent here because...
Yeah, let's do it.
So, we'll start with this game. They lost to Lazio in Rome. I mean, was it a shot on target they failed to get?
I think they had one, maybe.
One? It was just a terrible performance. Harry Kane has some terrible misses.
Upamecano.
Maguire showing up with a red card in this one.
Honestly, I think it will help them in the second leg not having him.
Did you think it was a red card, though?
No, I
didn't either. I thought it was like, so it was one of those like, okay, that's a harsh red, but like, ooh, that's a stern yellow. Like, that's an orange card territory.
Yeah. I would have been like, give him a yellow and then berate him a little bit. Like, don't give him a red. Like, come on.
I mean, he steps on the guy's foot. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But it's not high. I mean, it's foot, maybe low ankle, I guess is what I'd classify it. But it wasn't a red card worthy, I don't think. I don't know. That's just...
Was it
the defender in me.
Was it worse or... I don't want to say better because that's not a good word for it. Or less bad than Marcus Rashford's red?
I think it was less bad than Rashford's.
And we, again, didn't think that one was a red either. So, if it was less bad than Rashford's, it's definitely not a red. Just saying.
And then news...
Holy crap.
News of Tuchel?
Yeah, stepping down at the end of the season. Is it the worst managerial move of all time to fire Nagelsmann and replace him with Tuchel? Tuchel. Whatever.
Too bad for him because he's gone.
I know. It's like Nagelsmann has a much better record just because he struggled for a little tiny bit. He still won the league, which Tuchel's probably not going to do at this point.
It doesn't. So
which brings me back to them getting absolutely annihilated by Bayer Leverkusen.
So yes, that game happened a couple weeks ago. First versus second, you're thinking, okay, Bayern Munich, this is your chance to make some ground.
At least you would think it would be close.
But what was going on with their lineup, dude? They spent how many million on Bowie, the right back from Galatasaray? Was it 20 or 30 million?
30, I think.
Hey, here's an idea. We're going to play him at left back when we have Rafael Guerrero. Because that makes total sense. Eye roll. I mean, why would they play a right back at left back when they have Guerrero?
I mean, you're better off playing Alphonso Davies over there.
Well, I think he's been out hurt.
He's been out injured.
But you still have Rafael Guerrero. I mean, he was a fantastic left back for Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah, but in a completely different system.
Well, that system didn't work at all against Bayer Leverkusen. And then to compound it, they go lose to Bochum the next week. And they are now 8 points back of Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah. I saw this quote, and I absolutely loved it. It was they brought Tuchel to Bayern, and Tuchel turned Bayern into Chelsea.
And then they bought Harry Kane to turn him into Spurs.
And then brought in Eric Dyer to make it even worse.
Oh my gosh. Is this Harry Kane curse like alive and well? Because it looks like it is, man.
At this point, with what we've seen, and them losing to Lazio in the first leg of the Champions League, it has to be. Right? The only competition that they could possibly win right now with the way that Bayer Leverkusen are playing is the Champions League.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to get knocked out of that, if not this round, the next round, because of the way they're playing right now.
They're playing terrible right now. I mean,
awful. This is worse. This is worse than what right before Nagelsmann got fired.
Oh, it is. It is. I mean, their defense, Kim and Jay, is he like one of the worst signings of the season? The guy looks like a shadow of his former self.
I think a lot of it is there's a language barrier there. There has to be. Because we saw how good he was. I mean, I get it, right? Victor Osimhen hasn't reached the heights he did this season. But at the same time, it's like if you can do that consistently for a season, we know the skill is there. There has to be another issue there.
So is it a Tuchel?
Could very well be. It could be both, for that matter. I think there's something there fundamentally. It's not him as a player. I think it's either communication or the system or both.
Or is it their midfield with Kimmich, Goretzka in there?
Yeah, we saw the reaction from Kimmich when he got subbed off.
Yes.
I think there's definitely a fire there between Tuchel and Kimmich. I mean, he was the linchpin for Nagelsmann. Tuchel's pretty much created him as an afterthought. I don't understand why. He's one of the best midfielders in the world.
This Bayern Munich team, do you think they'll be able to turn it around against Lazio?
I think they should. Will they? I think with Lazio's form this season, I'd probably say yeah. But like, barely.
I'm going to say they do. I'm going to say they turn it around at the Allianz and make it through to the quarterfinals.
I think so too.
But speaking of another German team, they went to Eindhoven to play PSV, where they drew 1-1. This was one of my low-key games I watched. I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this one over the other one.
This was my low-key game to watch.
Yeah.
It was. And I will say, I did not expect Dortmund to bully around PSV the way they did. But at the same time, I didn't expect PSV to miss so many clear-cut chances by like such a wide margin. Like, you have the goal, and then you have the 10 yards outside of the goal in all directions, and that's about where they were shooting the whole match. I didn't understand it at all.
Yeah, I noticed that, like, especially because, I was paying close attention to Bakayoko, youngster on the wing, and it's like he would do everything right, dribble-wise, create the opportunity, and then his shot would just be absolute garbage, man. It was just like, oh my gosh, what are you doing?
I'm not creating excuses for him, but I did hear that he just recovered from the flu, and he didn't actually expect him to start, but he did. I'm not creating excuses. As a player that young and that good, you should still be able to hit the target.
When he does the dribbling part well, but then can't shoot, like, okay, come on.
Yeah.
That's not the flu.
But speaking of wingers, Daniel Malen, man.
Is he a winger? He's more of a forward at this point, man.
He played on the wing for PSV when he played there before going to Dortmund, but he looked inspired in this match against his former side, getting their only goal.
Guy was taking shots from everywhere.
And they were quality shots, too.
45 yards out, whatever. Have a hit.
Who cares? Yeah, whatever. But yeah, it was fascinating to watch this match, man. And Schlotterbach getting a yellow to miss the next leg, I think is going to be a huge miss.
You think so?
Yeah. And then how about that penalty call, though? How bad was that?
That was not a penalty, man. That was not a penalty.
Notice how I didn't ask you if it was a penalty. I just asked how bad was that
call.
That
was a bad one. With VAR, how do you see that? He gets the ball.
How do you not see that, or how do you miss that? I don't understand.
I do feel like Jamie Carragher gave a good explanation of it on the after, the analysis part of it there on the Champions League show. Like, what's a defender supposed to do? He makes the slide tackle. He can't stop sliding. And so, yes, the player runs into him, but after he got the ball, I mean, come on.
Yeah, 100%.
And it, there's those tackles where, okay, you get the ball, but you go through the player type of situation. This one, he got the ball and then went into the player. So he got the ball first before the player.
Yeah.
Bad call. I didn't like it.
Bad call. But what do you guys think? Let us know on our socials. Brews FC on Instagram, our Facebook group, our YouTube channel. Let us know down below. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, hit that notification bell. And then let us know on our TikTok, Brews Banter FC. On there.
We're all over the place, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Mentally and physically.
There you go. Let's move on to, honestly, I thought this was probably one of the biggest games of this round.
I would say biggest, yes.
The two biggest teams facing off, I would say. It was Inter hosting Atletico Madrid. Ended 1-0 in favor of Inter. How good
this game was so much more wide open than I thought it would be. I thought this would be a defensive chess match, and the ball, it's like a basketball game. It's back and forth the whole game. I will say Inter did dominate a little bit more, but they deserve their win, I will say.
So this is one I had to watch the highlights of, and I expected the highlights to honestly be 2 minutes long. Mm-hmm. A minute of it is just showing yellow cards to players.
18 minutes, I think. Yeah.
But yes, it was much more open than I thought. And the highlights showed Marcus Thuram, man. Looks like a stud. For free. Yeah. Inter got him for free.
For free.
He looks good.
What a signing.
And then the goal scorer. The goal scorer, Marco
Turning back the years.
Came on for the injured Marcus Thuram at halftime.
And I will put an asterisk next to him turning back the years because he did miss quite a few sitters in this one.
Terrible ones, too.
But he at least put one away.
He got one.
And then speaking of Inter forwards, man, is Lautaro Martinez the most complete forward in the world right now?
No.
Offense and defense. I'm not saying just finishing and all the aspects of a forward. I'm saying all around game.
No.
Because watching him play defense in this match, he's better than most forwards I've seen play defense.
So I also have... He's one of those players, man, that for some reason, I want to but I don't.
You can't?
I don't like Lautaro Martinez, man. I've seen him be so terrible in so many situations. Don't get me wrong. He's played well. He's playing well right now. The last time Inter won the Scudetto... Yeah. The last time Inter won the Scudetto, he was fantastic when he had Lukaku as his partner. But I feel like he's almost like Marcus Rashford, where he has his highs and then he has his lows. He's a roller coaster, man. And
I think I would compare him more to Victor Osimhen than Marcus Rashford, because Osimhen goes on tears of goals, right? A little bit more consistent though than Lautaro Martinez, but Marcus Rashford, you look at his stats this season. I mean, Lautaro Martinez in a bad year has over 20 goals. Rashford in a bad year has less than 10.
You think Lautaro Martinez on his bad year has 20 goals?
Yeah, he's got over 20 goals right now.
Well, I don't get me wrong, because he's having a good year for sure. Yeah. But I guess you're not wrong. I mean, his worst year was 2018-19. He scored 6.
Okay.
In 27 appearances in Serie A. And he's kind of consistently gone up. So, in 2019-20, he scored 14 goals in 35 appearances. 17 goals the year after that. And then 21, and now he's at 20. So, don't get me wrong. Yes, this year, he has been... I guess you know who I would kind of compare him to? Is Lacazette.
Okay.
Lacazette would kind of hover about that 20 goals in all competitions situation. But, not one of the... I wouldn't say he was one of the best strikers in his league.
No. But Lacazette, too, I understand that, right? Lacazette was a great defender as well.
I'm going to contradict myself, though, because I do think Lautaro Martinez is one of the best strikers in Serie A. Yes. I mean, he is. I mean, his numbers show that. I can't argue with that. But I guess as a player, especially when he plays for Argentina, I think that's where I don't like him, when he plays for Argentina.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a different system. He misses a lot of sitters. He's not very good. I understand. That's why Julian Alvarez will probably start over him in the next World Cup. But, whatever.
Why he started over him in the final, yeah. All right, man. Well, let's move on to a game that broke our hearts. It was Porto hosting Arsenal. Porto won 1-0. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah. Well, first, I'm going to go positives and not about Arsenal.
Okay. About the player you picked, your favorite player?
The player I picked, who has the most goal contributions in the Champions League right now, in Galeno. He's going to get a big move this summer. There's no way he's staying at Porto because this man is electrifying. Although I will say there were parts of this match where he disappeared. But I think that was more because the way Arsenal were playing and not because of the way that Porto were playing.
Pretty much the entire second half. He disappeared.
Yeah, he did until he hit a golazo at the end.
94th minute.
94th minute, pretty much the last kick of the game.
There was like 20 seconds left in the game.
Out of nowhere, he's like, yeah, fuck it. I'm just going to hit this, and hits a banger into the far corner. I'm like, okay. But yeah, that's 5 goals in the Champions League for him. He's got 4 assists, 9 goal contributions, most in the Champions League right now. And then we get to Arsenal. I had to start with something positive before I got into everything negative, right?
There we go. Okay, give me the negative. Give me the negative.
Oh, you remember that spell in December, right around Christmas, where Arsenal looked sluggish, poor, couldn't really score? Well, in this game, not only that, they didn't get a single shot on target. For a team that had 73% possession.
Oh yeah,
that
they dominated.
Blows my mind. So they were so bad going forward.
I know I'm wearing the Arsenal jersey, but I'll say I did not watch this game. I was watching the other one, the Napoli-Barcelona. But I can tell you how this game went. I've just, without even having to watch anything.
As an Arsenal fan, I've seen this 100,000 times.
100,000 times. They have possession, and they're just hovering right there outside the 18, but not really creating anything. And then, oh wait, the team gets a counterattack, and they almost concede
scores at the death, and they lose. Why? Weird. Where'd that come from?
Yeah.
I will say, though, as much as Arsenal played badly, they did not deserve to win anything from this match. I'm going to say that before I finish this statement. Okay. I have not seen a ref call a game like this in a long time as I watched this whole entire travesty of a match for Arsenal.
What'd the ref do, man?
Not a single player were really allowed to touch each other. It's like literally they touched each other except for on set plays on corners where it was like how many people are going to end up on the ground before
I did see that at the corner kicks, man. Like Ben White was just getting wrestled in there and he's wrestling the guy who's marking
Arsenal. I think Arsenal had 10 or 11 corners in the match and at least 3 people were on the floor every single time. But during play, if anyone touched anyone, like hand on the shoulder, on the back, a little bit physical, ref immediately called for a foul. I haven't seen any football match called like this in a long time. I'm not saying this is why Arsenal lost, because it's not. They lost because of themselves and how poorly they played and a little bit of brilliance from Porto. But still, this is full-grown men. Full-grown men. They should be able to be a little physical with each other. Just saying.
How do you feel about David Raya's positioning on that goal?
I think he jumped too early, and he was a little too far out of his goal. Yes.
I think he was a little too far out, yes.
I think the jumping a little too early was the biggest part because he was on his way down when the ball went over his hand. So,
well, do you think they'll turn it around at the Emirates?
I do. It's the Emirates. No matter how much pressure you have, it's a fortress. Porto has to travel. It's a long ways. And it's the Emirates. I think probably 3-0 Arsenal in the second leg.
Okay, let's hope so, man.
Yeah.
All right. Napoli hosted Barcelona. And you said this, you were going to flip a coin? Flip a coin?
Well, it landed on its side, so.
This one ended 1-1, yeah.
I know you watched the whole match, but I will add that Barca looked the better team by far.
They did. They did look the better team.
70 minutes-ish till Osimhen got his goal out of nothing, and then after that, it was back and forth. But Barcelona looked the better side.
But how about this midfield lineup? Andreas Christensen at the base of the midfield for Barcelona, man. You never know what
At
this
this point,
Barcelona midfield
I
is
don't
going to
even
look
remember. I don't even remember who is on their bench at this point because they have signed so many players, and I don't know who is going to be in the squad and not in the squad. But they half of them are awful, and half of them are good. So
it
I don't want to be Gattuso again, but sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
They started out. Rafinha was on the bench. João Felix was on the bench. I mean, start Andreas Christensen as your defensive midfielder when you got Romeu sitting on your bench.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like a no-brainer to me, just to start Christensen over Romeu.
But it's weird. You don't know what you're gonna get with this Barcelona team.
You don't.
I mean, the two prolific strikers, they get their goal. Lewandowski, as you mentioned, Victor Osimhen. And yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes in the second leg. I do think Barca will edge them just watching this game.
Yeah, it'll be Barca at home as well, which will make this match completely different, right? Napoli this season in Serie A have not been good away from home.
They've not been good at all in Serie A.
I mean, yes, but they've been much worse away from home. And a Barcelona side that's generally very good at home. I think Barcelona probably will edge this one. And I do think a little bit has to do with Napoli firing Walter Mazzarri before this match, 48 hours before this match to be precise, and then hiring Slovakia boss Francesco Calzona and having him have one practice with the squad before the match. And he also changed formation and tactics. So it's their third manager this season.
Not terrible to get a draw, though, against Barca.
No, actually, it's pretty damn good, especially with one practice under your belt. But we'll see. I mean, you got a couple weeks before this second tie happens.
Yes.
So
they are missing Luciano Spalletti. That's all I can say.
They are. But I do have a question for you.
Okay.
In lieu of them hiring their third manager this season, is Napoli a bigger mess than Barcelona this season? As both teams did win their titles last season.
Oh, so here's, I guess what I'll say. I will say Napoli are much further off this season than they were last season than Barca are. Just, I mean, you can see them in Serie A. They're not doing well. They're, I don't even know what place. I have to pull up what place they're in.
Yeah, I think last time I saw they were in what, 5th, 7th, somewhere in there. Not good. Anyways.
Not good. They're not doing good in Serie A. Barca, Barca are in a Champions League place. I think it's the hardest, like we said before in a previous episode. You guys should check out on our YouTube, socials, blah, blah, blah. It's the hardest job to manage, Barcelona. You are expected to play a certain way. You're expected to win trophies. They won 2 last year. And so I think it's Napoli are worse off, man.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I don't have anything else to say about it.
That tangent just to get to Napoli are worse off.
So, let us know on our social medias, our Instagram Brews FC, our TikTok Brews Banter FC, our Facebook page, our Facebook group. Make sure you join that if you can. Check out our YouTube page. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, hit that notification bell so you can get all of our latest videos. Make sure to check out our Redbubble. Get our merch. It's pretty awesome. We got a bunch of it. Anything you want, including one of these bad boys.
That's right. Get one of these mugs.
Get one of these mugs so that way you can do this. Till next time, my friends.
Cheers.